Don't beg. Don't chase. A Stoic Path to Inner Peace. Chapter 1. The Disease of Desperation. There is a quiet agony in chasing what doesn't belong to us. A slow erosion of dignity when we beg for love, attention, or recognition. In the modern world, where validation often comes in the form of likes, messages, or career milestones, the temptation to chase is ever present. But Stoicism, the ancient philosophy rooted in logic and inner discipline, offers us a powerful alternative. Instead of pleading with the world, the Stoic seeks to master the self. Desperation, in the Stoic view, is not merely unattractive, it is irrational. The Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." When we chase others or outcomes, we surrender that power. We hand our peace over to people who often do not know us, understand us, or even respect us. What we chase begins to own us. This chapter confronts a hard truth. Begging and chasing are rooted in fear. Fear of not being enough. Fear of being alone. Fear of missing out. We tell ourselves that if we just try a little harder, bend a little more, love louder, or show up more often, we'll finally be seen. But in doing so, we reinforce a dangerous illusion that peace lies outside of us. That someone else, a lover, a boss, a friend, holds the key to our self-worth. The loss of self in the chase. When we chase, we contort. We abandon our principles to fit into someone else's version of acceptable. We compromise values, betray intuition, and trade dignity for proximity. The Stoics would call this a loss of reason. Epictetus reminds us, "Seek not for events to happen as you wish, but wish for events to happen as they do, and your life will go smoothly." In chasing, we imply that we are incomplete, that we lack. But a Stoic believes that every human has all they need within. The soul, the inner citadel, as Aurelius called it, is enough. The world may tempt us with distractions, but the wise man does not chase shadows. He roots himself in the reality of what is, not in the fantasy of what could be if someone else would only choose him. To stop chasing, we must first recognize that the act itself is an admission of self-doubt. We beg and chase because we believe we are not worthy without the thing we are pursuing. This is where the healing begins, in the radical acceptance that you do not need to prove your worth. You are already whole. Reclaiming inner peace through detachment. Stoicism teaches us the art of detachment, not indifference, but clarity. Detachment means loving without clinging, working without desperation, showing up without needing applause. It is a return to the self, a reminder that our efforts are in our control, but the outcomes are not. The Stoic asks, "Is this within my control?" If the answer is no, if the response, the recognition, or the result depends on another, then obsession is futile. You can plant a seed, but you cannot command it to bloom on your schedule. When we practice detachment, we begin to see the beauty of stillness. The absence of noise becomes peace, not a void. We stop begging for attention and begin giving it to ourselves. We stop chasing love and start embodying it. This is not arrogance, it is alignment. When you know who you are, you do not need to be chosen. You choose yourself. The strength in stillness. Stillness is a Stoic's weapon. It is the silence between impulse and reaction. When someone rejects you, do you spiral or do you reflect? When a door closes, do you pound on it? Or do you turn and find another path? A Stoic does not waste energy on what cannot be changed. If someone walks away, let them. If a job slips through your fingers, release it. If a plan falls apart, accept it. Clinging is suffering. Surrender is peace. This isn't weakness. On the contrary, it's the highest form of strength. Anyone can chase. Anyone can beg. It takes deep courage to let go, to trust that what is meant for you will remain and what leaves was never yours. In a world that tells you to hustle, fight, and make it happen, Stoicism invites you to pause, not to quit, but to reflect. to act from purpose, not panic. You do not need to pursue validation. You need to live in accordance with your values. You do not need to convince anyone. You need to convince yourself. Chapter 2. The Power of Self-Sufficiency in the Pursuit of Peace. There's no greater ally than self-sufficiency. To the Stoics, true freedom is not the ability to do whatever one wants, but the ability to need nothing from others. Not in a cynical way, but in a way that honors the completeness of the individual. When you are self-sufficient, you become unshakable. Your joy, your calm, your sense of meaning, they are yours and yours alone. The Stoic sage does not rely on external circumstances to feel fulfilled. He eats simply, thinks clearly, and acts purposefully. He is not seduced by applause, nor destroyed by insult. Why? Because his soul does not hang in the balance of public opinion or fleeting reward. He is anchored. In today's hyper-connected world, the idea of self-sufficiency almost feels like a rebellion. We're taught to network, to brand ourselves, to keep up, and to seek approval. But the cost of that dependency is steep. When your self-esteem relies on external affirmation, you live in emotional poverty. You become a beggar in the marketplace of validation, always waiting for someone else to tell you that you matter. Knowing what you control, Epictetus laid the foundation for Stoic self-sufficiency with a single powerful concept: the dichotomy of control. There are things within our control, our thoughts, our actions, our values, and things outside our control, the opinions of others, outcomes, and events. To chase what you cannot control is to abandon your peace. To beg for what someone else can take away is to remain in chains. But to cultivate your mind, to live according to principle, and to act with integrity, that is real power. When we internalize this truth, we stop looking for guarantees. We become less reactive. We no longer panic when plans fail or people disappoint. We understand that setbacks are part of life, and that suffering arises not from the event itself, but from our interpretation of it. As Epictetus said, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. This mental shift is liberating. It turns the focus inward, where real work can begin. You stop trying to fix the world and start refining your own character. That is the essence of Stoic self-sufficiency, being so grounded in who you are that the chaos outside cannot shake you. Learning to stand alone. There's an uncommon strength in solitude. Not the loneliness that comes from being unwanted, but the solitude that arises when you no longer fear your own company. The Stoic does not retreat from society, but he does not need it to define him. He enjoys friends, but does not depend on them. He seeks love, but does not collapse without it. His worth is not contingent on the presence or absence of others. When you learn to stand alone, you become dangerous, not in a harmful way, but in a powerful one. No one can manipulate you with silence. No one can control you with approval. You no longer chase. You choose. You are no longer a slave to the fear of being alone. You've become your own sanctuary. Seneca wrote, "The greatest empire is to be emperor of oneself." That's what we must strive for, not to conquer others, but to master our impulses, our fears, our dependencies. Every moment spent trying to impress someone else is a moment stolen from your own development. Self-sufficiency doesn't mean isolation. It means wholeness. It means showing up full instead of empty. It means building an inner world so rich that nothing external can impoverish it. Cultivating inner wealth. Most people spend their lives accumulating external wealth, possessions, connections, accolades. But the Stoic invests in inner wealth, wisdom, temperance, courage, and justice. These virtues form the foundation of a life that cannot be broken by circumstance. The Stoic does not fear poverty, for he knows that riches can vanish overnight. He does not fear obscurity, for he knows that fame is fickle. He does not fear rejection, for he does not place his identity in the hands of others. His wealth is portable. It lives inside him. This inner abundance creates a calm that others can feel. When you are content with who you are, your presence becomes magnetic. People are drawn to those who do not need them. You stop chasing, and ironically, that's when life starts flowing toward you. But this kind of contentment takes discipline. You have to build it deliberately. It starts with habits: journaling to clarify your thoughts, meditating to quiet the mind, reading to feed the soul, reflecting to align with your values. You cultivate yourself like a garden, patiently, consistently, with care. From lack to fullness, begging and chasing come from a place of perceived lack. I am not enough, they whisper. I need someone or something else to complete me. But the Stoic counters this with a louder, steadier truth. You are already enough. Not perfect, not without flaws, but complete in your ability to choose virtue over vice, reason over impulse, peace over panic. The path from lack to fullness is not glamorous. It often involves letting go of people who drain you, habits that dull you, desires that weaken you. It means saying no when it's easier to say yes. It means sitting with discomfort rather than numbing it with distractions. It's not easy, but it's worth it. Because on the other side of that discipline is a life that is truly your own. Not one dictated by trends, peer pressure, or romantic fantasy, but one governed by wisdom and intention. When you stop chasing, the world stops running. When you stop begging, you start receiving. Not always what you want, but always what you need to grow. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more video updates. Chapter 3. The freedom of letting go. Letting go is one of life's hardest acts, and yet it is the foundation of peace. We cling to people, memories, identities, and expectations with a desperation that quietly suffocates us. We tell ourselves that holding on is strength, but the Stoics knew otherwise. True strength, they taught, is found in release. To let go, in the Stoic sense, is not to abandon care. It is to stop demanding that life unfold according to your desires. To live fully is to let go continuously. Of control, of outcomes, of stories we tell ourselves. This does not mean apathy. It means clarity. It means no longer anchoring your joy to what is uncertain or outside of you. The Stoic lets go not because he is indifferent, but because he understands the cost of attachment to illusions. The burden of attachment, when left unchecked, becomes a silent tyrant. We become attached to the idea of who someone should be, how a situation should go, or what we should have achieved by now. These attachments breed suffering. They trap us in a cycle of resistance, against reality, against change, against the natural flow of life. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke at any moment." This is the power of letting go. It's not about erasing memories or discarding values. It's about changing your relationship to them. You can love someone deeply and still let them go. You can mourn a dream and still move forward. You can release the need to be understood, and in doing so, find understanding within. Letting go doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop controlling. The Stoic knows that everything borrowed from the world, relationships, wealth, status, even health, is temporary. To cling is to suffer twice. Once when life changes, and again when you refuse to accept it. Accepting what is at the heart of letting go is acceptance. Not resignation, not surrender to injustice, but the deep, serene acknowledgement that reality is what it is. Epictetus reminds us, do not seek to have events happen as you want them to, but instead want them to happen as they do, and your life will go well. This radical acceptance is a form of mental judo. Instead of resisting the flow of life, you move with it. When a door closes, you don't pound on it. You step back and reassess. When someone walks away, you don't chase them, you reflect and release. You stop asking, why me, and start asking, what now? Letting go becomes possible when we detach our identity from outcomes. You are not your job, your relationship, your achievements. You are not the image others project onto you. You are your character. You are your response. And those, unlike everything else, are yours to shape. The illusion of control. One of the most painful truths we must face is that we control far less than we think. We do not control how others feel about us. We do not control how long someone stays, how well our plans unfold, or when loss arrives. But the ego resists this truth. It wants certainty, predictability, dominance. It wants guarantees. But control, as most people seek it, is an illusion. The Stoics knew this, and rather than despair, they found liberation in it. Once you realize that much of life is outside your hands, you stop white-knuckling your way through it. You open your palms, you exhale. There is a difference between effort and control. You can give your best, prepare well, speak honestly, love fully, and still be unattached to the outcome. That is where freedom lives. Not in the guarantee, but in the grace of having done your part without clinging to results. Releasing others with grace, people will come and go. Some will love you deeply. Others will misunderstand you entirely. Some will stay for a season. Others will leave abruptly. This is the nature of human experience, and it is neither good nor bad, it simply is. The Stoic does not plead for love. He offers it. He does not chase those who depart. He honors the connection, and then, with dignity, lets it go. Because he understands that love is not about possession, it is about presence. And sometimes, the most loving thing you can do is to release someone to their own path. Letting go of people is not an act of cruelty. It's an act of self-respect. It says, I trust life. I trust myself. And I do not need to force what is not aligned. When you release with grace, instead of bitterness, you leave the door open for peace to walk in. This is not a passive stance. It's an active practice. It means choosing inner freedom over emotional entanglement. It means remembering that just because someone added value to your life doesn't mean they were meant to stay forever. Some people are chapters, not the whole story. The stillness that remains, what remains after you let go. Stillness, space, silence. At first, it may feel like a loss, but soon, it becomes clarity. You begin to hear your own voice again. You begin to remember who you were before the chase, before the noise, before the need. That stillness is where your power lies. The Stoics sought that stillness not through retreat, but through inner discipline. They trained their minds to be content regardless of condition. They practiced gratitude not for what they had, but for what they were capable of enduring. When you stop grasping, the world begins to open. Not because you forced it to, but because you finally made space. Letting go does not leave you empty. It makes room for what is real. For peace, for presence, for a life that is lived, not controlled. In the end, letting go is not about forgetting. It's about remembering. Remembering that you were never meant to carry everything. That some things are too heavy to hold. That your hands were made not just to grasp, but to release. Chapter 4. Choosing peace over validation. There's a subtle war raging in modern life. The war for attention. The craving for validation. The constant temptation to prove oneself. Every scroll, every like, every reaction feeds a cycle of dependency. Am I enough? Do they see me? Was I noticed? But the Stoic does not fight this war. He walks away from it. For him, peace is not won through praise. It is cultivated through self-respect. The Stoic path demands a radical shift, from external validation to internal alignment. Instead of asking, what do they think of me? The Stoic asks, what do I think of myself? This is the foundation of inner peace, to build your life not on the shifting sands of opinion, but on the solid ground of virtue. We live in a time where visibility is mistaken for value. But being seen does not make you whole. Applause does not make you right, and silence does not make you wrong. The Stoic knows this, and so he becomes free. free from the compulsion to perform, to impress, to chase approval. The tyranny of approval validation is addictive. It feels good in the moment. A compliment, a promotion, a round of applause. But it is a fleeting drug. The more you depend on it, the more you will need it. And the moment it is withdrawn, you collapse. Seneca warned of this dependency. He who depends on the opinion of others loses his freedom. It's not wrong to enjoy being recognized. What matters is whether your identity depends on it. Are you living according to your principles, or tailoring your soul to fit someone else's preferences? When we seek validation, we often abandon authenticity. We become shapeshifters, adapting our tone, our goals, even our values, just to be accepted. We dilute ourselves for applause, but every time we do this, we chip away at our own peace. Peace comes from self-respect, not self-promotion. When you validate yourself through honest effort, discipline, and truth, you no longer need to beg the world to see you. You become your own witness, and that is enough. The quiet confidence of the Stoic is not loud. He does not seek the spotlight. He does not shout for recognition. His confidence is quiet, rooted in self-knowledge and integrity. He knows who he is. He lives with intention. And if the world notices, fine. If not, still fine. This is not false humility. It is true groundedness. When you know your worth, you do not need to advertise it. When your conscience is clear, you do not need others to confirm your path. You live simply, act justly, speak with purpose, and let the results take care of themselves. This quiet confidence is rare and powerful. It does not clamor. It does not chase. It does not beg. It radiates. And because it is not desperate, it is magnetic. True peace, then, is not found in the noise of attention, but in the stillness of authenticity. It is knowing that you are living rightly, even if no one claps. Living according to virtue, not reaction. To free yourself from the trap of validation, you must align yourself with virtue, the core of Stoic ethics. The 4 Stoic virtues, wisdom, courage, temperance, and justice, are your compass. When you live by them, your decisions become independent of approval. Wisdom asks, is this right? Courage asks, am I willing to do it, even if I'm misunderstood? Temperance asks, can I act without excess? Justice asks, is this fair and honorable? With these guiding you, external feedback becomes secondary. You begin to evaluate your day, not by what others thought, but by whether you lived in accordance with your values. Validation may come, or it may not, but peace is no longer hostage to it. You are not at the mercy of likes, compliments, or attention. You are anchored in something deeper, the integrity of your character. As Marcus Aurelius put it, waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. From performance to presence, the pursuit of validation turns life into a performance. We wear masks, play roles, and rehearse our lines. But over time, this performance becomes exhausting. You begin to wonder who you really are beneath it all. Stoicism offers you an escape, not into apathy, but into presence. You stop performing, you start being. You become less interested in appearing wise and more committed to becoming wise. Less concerned with being liked and more invested in being whole. This shift brings peace. Because peace is not passive, it is powerful. It is the result of a deep alignment between who you are and how you live. When your outer life reflects your inner values, there is no tension to manage. You don't have to fake it. You don't have to chase it. You just have to live it. Presence means showing up fully in your truth, with your flaws, without the need for decoration. It means being honest even when it's uncomfortable. It means staying silent when noise is tempting. It means choosing what is right over what is popular. The final freedom, when you stop chasing validation, you gain something extraordinary. Freedom. You are no longer controlled by how others see you. You are not afraid of being ignored. You are not driven by the need to be admired. You are free to act from principle, not pressure. This is where the Stoic finds his peace, not in detachment from life, but in a deeper attachment to what is true. He is not cold, but clear, not indifferent, but independent. He loves, he serves, he engages, but he does not beg. And so the journey ends where it began, in the self. Not the ego-driven self that demands to be seen, but the soul-centered self that simply is. When you stop begging and chasing, you realize something profound. You are already enough. You were always enough. Peace was never out there. It was always within.